Hello, gang. Glad you can join us on part 2 of our webinar. It's Understanding SEO in the Era of Google's New Animal Algorithm. We're calling this Core SEO Strategies for Increased Ranking and Conversions using Panda and Penguin protocols. Just again, I want to introduce our team. I'm Tom Rosoff. I'm the CEO of our company, and I'll be hosting the webinar. George Weishaupt is our CTO and developer and oversees all of our programmers. Dan Gronsbell is our CFO. So we just want to welcome you all. We're really glad you're here. And we also want to thank all of you who are a part of the SIN community. And it's our commitment to have more of these and to cover a lot of the ground that we really have never covered before. Because of the nature of our business as a technology company, we have to know quite a bit about search engines. We constantly stay in touch with all the Google releases, patents, anything that comes from Google. By developing technologies through SIN, we get an inside look into a lot of the things that are going on within the search engines, the cause and effects that take place.
Let's get started on some preliminary discussions here. Before we sort of outline our response to Panda and Penguin, I just want to share some preliminary things related to social media science, which was really begun as a social media technology and content marketing company. A lot of people see us as an SEO company, but that's really not what we started out being. We have to know a lot about SEO, but it's really content marketing that is our focus and our goal. Therefore, we've always viewed content in all its forms, whether it's text, audio, video, photos, graphics, and combinations thereof, as defining the future of SEO and the essence of effective online marketing in general. So that's a qualification that I think is important to be made, because as we go on, you'll see how important content marketing is to the entire future of the web, and particularly marketing in general. In part 1, we began with an overview that we consider to be imperative, and if you haven't seen that, we really encourage you to view it, the first webinar. It's on the site for SIN members, and I think we put it in a link when we sent out this recent request to sign up for this webinar. And the reason we really want you to view it is because it's really foundational to everything that we're going to share tonight. We find that a lot of our SIN members really miss the larger picture of SEO and fail to develop an effective long-term strategy that is a real business. And that's going to become more and more imperative as Google applies its algorithms. They're forcing us more and more to white hat strategies. And in the end, that's going to be good. So anyways, just encourage you to view that first webinar and understand the larger picture of where the web and SEO is headed. Thirdly, Google's been aggressively and viciously, I like that word viciously because that's the way it feels, investing in new technologies like their adoption of machine learning, which we discussed on the first webinar, and their use of more human reviewers in order to ensure that every site on page 1 for any popular term, especially if it's a financially rich sector, is going to receive unprecedented and unrelenting scrutiny until they are assured that every site that they consider inferior is deranked and put in its proper place. 4 years ago, we predicted many of the new SEO protocols that are being adopted today. And this webinar, we want to predict another major change. From now to the end of 2013, if not much sooner, we expect to see several of the SEO tools, systems, and services that have fueled the industry, especially automated linking systems, to begin to fail one by one and even produce detrimental outcomes until they are finally shut down. We do not expect SEO automation to be eliminated, but it will no longer be possible to build quick and cheap solutions that last long enough to be worth your investment. They will be built, they will do something, but they won't last very long. Anything that is effective along these lines will be discovered and dealt with more quickly than ever before by Google, and only highly complex systems that involve considerable programming and financial investment will be able to sustain any kind of effective and long-term automated and consistent SEO impact. I see these services as being much more expensive when compared to today's prices, and we expect them to take on a more private persona. They may even promote these services once they're launched through strategies like a one-time launch and then quickly move to a private membership that grows by invitation only. This is because they have invested a lot of resources into their SEO creations, and therefore they want to be much more stealth in nature. It is well known that Google searches for systems that attempt to spam them, and you can expect these systems to try to avoid that. And I think we're already seeing some of this, and it's only going to increase over time, particularly as you see what's coming. There are some major changes coming still with search algorithms. At the end of the webinar tonight, we're going to be talking about a major one. Next, internet marketing is still in its infancy, and in the next 1 to 3 years, major corporations and Fortune 1000 companies will digitize their greater percentage of their core marketing properties, and they'll migrate their products and services to an online expression. As this takes place, everyone will follow en masse. So get ready. The revolution is really just now starting. In light of this new money coming into the online space, we predict that many online marketers who are accustomed to using mainly black hat and gray hat strategies are going to wake up and realize that their innate understanding of white hat methods give them a tremendous advantage, and that their intelligence and experience in designing effective, highly converting online marketing systems make them a perfect fit for taking on a set number of high-paying corporate or cash-infused new startup clients. We are predicting that online marketing consultation will skyrocket and be in great demand. Many of you on this call should be preparing yourselves for the next business models of the future. And I really mean that. Those of you that are learning how to build sites, learning how to rank them, learning how to use effective strategies, effective linking, effective social media, effective social signals, continue to just keep, catalog, and even write about some of the things you're doing. And as we're going to see tonight, if you can become an authority in what you're doing, you're going to amass to yourself more opportunities than you've ever seen, because the need for that kind of intelligence is increasing all the time. Think about it. As the search engines get more complex, the strategies, the knowledge, the know-how that you need to have to help companies is going to increase. Fewer and fewer major companies that are building huge sites with great potential in mind are going to be willing to trust neophytes, and they're going to be looking for professionals who really have the goods and who have the experience and can prove that they're able to rank sites and be able to do effective social media strategies. So let's begin with, we're going to cover a bit on Panda tonight and a bit on Penguin. So let's begin with Panda. Panda is a separate algorithm filter that Google runs periodically. It searches for sites with poor content quality. It's not a strict algorithm, it's a filter. And 5 targets that we have confirmed that Panda really looks for, the main attributes. There may be more than these, but these 5 have been verified, talked about, and admitted to by Google. So let's just kind of look at them one by one. Sites that have been blocked in large numbers by Google Chrome users, mainly because of its poor or offensive content. So think about it. Since Google owns Chrome, they're able to see all the Chrome users and to see what they do with sites based on their browsing. And this is now included as one of the filters that they look at and is included in Panda. If a site gets reviewed, bounced a lot, poor results, has offensive content, gets reported to Google through Chrome, then it gets affected. Content that is reported to Google to have violated copyright laws. This is something new that we've discovered, that Google's actually tracking and now penalizing any site whose content is reported to them to violate copyright. So Google right now receives between 4 and 5 million copyright complaints every month. Just think of that for a moment. I mean, have any of you ever put in a copyright complaint? I haven't. Who are these people? There's a lot of them, and they're upset and they're complaining, and Google is now tracking these, and if your site is a culprit, then if it gets a lot of complaints over copyright violation, then get ready, because it's going to affect your ranking. Now, a lot of this is happening because people are stealing and taking content from other people and using it in improper ways. We're going to talk about curation in a bit tonight, but there's things that you've got to do if you're going to curate, and a lot of people aren't doing them properly. Inadequate content, not enough text on pages, or highly spun content. We're going to find out tonight that Google likes a lot of content. And strategies that used to use 250 to 500 word articles are no longer going to be as effective. They're looking for authority. They want to know that you know something. They want to know that what you write is worth reading. Next, duplicate content that is present across other sites, or content that is duplicated within the same site. We'll talk about that more on the next webinar, because there's a lot of confusion about that. And we'll cover exactly what Google means when they talk about duplicate content. And then lastly, posting too many ads or ad-like features on your site. And there is a positive contribution to ads, which I call congruent ads, that can help SEO to a small amount if the ads fit the theme of the website. But if you just have a lot of ads, even a lot of AdSense, and it's just indiscriminately placed, particularly above the fold, then that's another thing that they're penalizing highly. So these are the 5 targets that have been aimed at that affect Panda. We're going to discuss some other things in addition to these, and some that correlate with these as we go on. Here's the Panda release schedule that we're aware of. We reviewed this last time, but I just put it up again so you can see some kind of rhythm that Google has been engaging in as they released the first of their Panda, which many call the Farmer Update, on February 24, 2011. And consider this: as disruptive as Panda has been for Internet marketers, it is but one SEO filter that Google has employed. I thought it was interesting and wanted to share this comment from Matt Cutt's view on this. He says, some publishers have fixated on our prior Panda algorithm change, but Panda was just one of roughly 500 search improvements we expected to roll out to search this year. In fact, since we launched Panda, we've rolled out over a dozen additional tweaks to our ranking algorithms, and some sites have incorrectly assumed that changes in their ranking were related to Panda. Search is a complicated and involved art and science. So rather than focusing on specific algorithmic tweaks, we encourage you to focus on delivering the best possible experience for users. And I put the link to this post in there so that once you get the webinar recording, you guys can look that up if you want to. But think about that. Roughly 500 search improvements we expect to roll out in search this year. It just kind of boggles your mind to think of really what's coming. So how do we comply with Panda? What do you need to do as a website owner and as a content creator to comply with Panda and to win Google's favor? I do want to say it's worth understanding this, and it's truly worth winning page 1, and particularly spot 1, 2, or 3 on page 1. they're going to become increasingly lucrative, valuable, and anyone who has the capability to rank is going to be in the money. More and more people are coming online. More and more money is coming to the entire online world. So let's take a look at what we consider the proper SEO response to Panda. Since Panda is a content filter, one of the ways you can see your site increase in rankings is to comply with Google and feed their search engine with the types of content they want. In the following points below, I'm going to outline for you exactly how to accomplish this. But before I list these solutions, let me just clarify one thing. It is impossible to separate Panda from Penguin or to separate Panda Penguin from the hundreds of other search factors, filters, and algorithms that Google uses to rank websites. So although I'm isolating it tonight and talking about it, you need to realize that Google sees it as a congruent, integrated whole. And they don't just respond to one aspect. So if you do good on Panda and you screw up on Penguin or any of the other search algorithms, there's going to be a response and an effect and possibly a penalty. So that's why it's really important to understand the whole milieu of this environment that they're creating. Next, so the following suggested strategies for creating Panda-friendly content should not be applied in isolation. In other words, you can do everything that I list below and still not see your site rank as you want to if you've not applied the basic range of SEO prerequisites. Some of these will be discussed when we get to Penguin. And secondly, in general, much of the content we see coming from sin.com is in need of radical makeover. In fact, we're going to be making some changes and feeding back to you. Your sites will be reviewed, and we'll be feeding back to you some analytic information about your site in order for you to know what kind of credits you should use, the degree of promotions you should engage in, and to prevent you from doing things that could harm you, because some of our site owners in Sin have engaged in applying campaigns that probably have hurt them and they haven't even known it. So we're going to try to do a better job of screening and helping and guiding so that that doesn't happen in the future. Regardless if you or someone else is performing your writing, you must approach this task with the goal of making your site the #1 authority on the topic or niche that your website represents. I want to underscore that. Whatever you're doing, whether it's affiliate marketing, whether you have created a nonprofit site, whether it is a site related, it's an e-commerce site, you're selling products or services, whatever it is, if you want this site to rank, you need to begin approaching your task as if you're going to be the #1 authority on the topic or niche. And I want to tell you, there's no reason why you can't do that. We are amazed at, if applied the right way, how easy it is to rank even in popular niches in our day. You see, one of the things that's happened with the search engines shaking up everything is a lot of the good old boys who have had their positions on page 1 for years have been shaken up as well. And so the entire SEO world has kind of been equalized. And if you know what you're doing and you apply the strategies properly, there is a lot of space that can be taken over and can be regained by you if you apply the right approach. All your content must follow keywords and themes that the search engines have already defined as authoritative and essential for the niche that your website represents. The best way to do this is to create a thematic silo. For some of you, this will be a new term. We're going to define it tonight. The silo concept was popularized by the master SEO and site designer Bruce Clay. In fact, you can go to bruceclay.com and read more about the concept of thematic silos. I really encourage you to do that. He's got some excellent articles and information on what thematic siloing is, how it was developed, and how it relates to content creation. Expect to hear more about this strategy in the coming months, especially as the corporate world insists on having the very best content strategy and sites. So I want to review some examples of completed thematic silos so you can get a feel for what they are and the place they play in authority websites or Panda-approved content. So basically, it's taking content that's keyword research analyzed and taking the main theme of the site and determining what the top theme keywords are, and through research, all of the sub, long tail, LSI keywords that fit underneath those themes. And this will determine essentially the structure of the site as well. So siloing not only applies to content creation, it also applies to how you organize your site. And you're going to see more plugins that will adopt these structures and allow you to take your research and to apply it to keywords properly. Let me show you an example of a siloed site which was done for a massage business, and actually this is one that we can show you because Joel, I think you did this one for your wife's business, didn't you?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. So Joel is our research guru, and I think we told you on our last webinar we do research from everything from $400 to $60,000. And if that sounds wild and completely out of range, that is not the most expensive siloing that I know of. Bruce Clay does it. It can be very, very expensive depending on the niche that you're going into. It takes weeks to complete. It is very intense. We use about 18 different tools and systems to go through a complete website research and content silo creation process. Joel, why don't we explain how this differs from just kind of guessing at your keywords that might be the top popular ones and trying to go down and find sub-keywords that would fit to create a silo like this. What's unique about a thematic silo, and what goes into selecting these keywords that make it so important and so effective when you do discover them and put them in a silo like this to guide you in content creation?
Sure. We actually take a step back and we start, as we work through this, siloing helps you to get ranked for a wider range of keywords using less inbound links. So that's definitely one of the benefits. Another benefit is that when you create a silo, you are starting with a blueprint. You have a blueprint in which to build your site. One of the things that we do when we work with our clients is first to understand the budget that they have to spend for link building. We know that getting on the first page costs money. So we figure out what the budget is. Then we also take a look at what the profit is going to be from the product or service that they're going to be promoting. Once we have those numbers, and we also get an idea of the potential revenue that they're looking to generate and how long it's going to take for the customer to generate that revenue. And then, you know, we calculate those numbers to get an idea of where we want to enter the market. Then what we do is we take, we go to the top of the niche, whatever that may be, and we try to break down all the peaks. What are the terms that have the most traffic, the highest cost, and competition. We get a group of, however, from 1,000 to 10 to 20,000 keywords, and we have the different tools that help us determine which keywords are money keywords, which money are more in the educational side. And working with the client, we understand what would be the most important terms as far as conversions. So which keywords, again, those money keywords. So as we look at the screen that you have there, the top of the silos, whether it's 2 or whether it's 10, Usually we design those as landing pages. So we focus the conversions of those keywords on those pages. And then everything below that become content that assists that page to convert. So when we start writing content, we focus on whatever that most specific portion of that product or service that the customer wants to promote, and we begin with like 2 legs of that. So we can start generating some revenue, and we can enter the market spending enough money based on the budget to start bringing in some revenue. From there, we can continue to add as we go, but we've got the blueprint, and as we continue to add, we know where to go. Money comes in, and it goes back into the budget, and it goes from there.
And so, for example, in terms of a writing strategy, you would take the top themes and begin writing on those, and then the sub-themes, the silo article 1, silo article 2, article 3, those are articles that are written as supportive of the top theme, and this pretty much guides your content creation, ensuring that the topics that you're writing on are really going to produce the maximum amount of return. What people don't realize is that when they write kind of willy-nilly and they write kind of indiscriminately on topics without doing research, they're just simply shooting in the dark. They don't know if anybody wants to read that or if Google's going to see that content as related to anything authoritative. What a thematic silo like this does is it tells Google you understand every aspect of your market from top to bottom, every related keyword, theme, and subject that is in that market, and not only that, you understand the interrelationship and degrees of levels in which those terms relate to one another. And as you begin to write on this, and as you begin to create this architecture, Google increasingly brings you more and more traffic because they see if somebody is going to search for neck pain, that not only do you cover neck pain, but you cover shoulder pain too, and back pain, and lower hip pain, and elbow and forearm pain, and wrist and hand pain, yes, and knee and thigh pain. You cover everything related to pain related to massage. And so why wouldn't Google deliver your site on all these terms, given that you have compiled the entire market and wrapped it around a thematic theme and have written content on it that's going to become authoritative and is going to rank highly? You are the authority. So once you begin strategies like this, guys, you'll never go back. And you can do this for affiliate marketing. You can do this for e-commerce. You can do this for membership sites. You can do this for single products. I mean, is there anything that we can't do this with, Joel?
No, and the other thing I wanted to mention too is that, you know, again, we're using various tools, and we're coming with estimates because we know there's no such thing when you're researching numbers from Google's or any search engine, but you know, we're able to estimate the amount of links, articles, time, and costs that is going to take for each individual keyword that we select in the blueprint. So we'll also, they also have that with them, and again, everything is based on how much is it going to cost to get into the market and how much is it going to cost to be profitable.
And when you approach a niche, you never really know until you research it how many silos you're going to find, correct?
And many times we go into a niche and realize that, you know, we told my customers, look, this is what it looks like, and it looks like you want to make $5,000 a month, but that niche, you know, it's going to cost you this much, and it doesn't appear to be profitable. So we can let people know ahead of time whether it's something that they should even consider going into.
Exactly, and that's one of the values of it, and that's why before you go into a market or build a site, you really want to make sure that there's money in that market. I can't tell you the number of people that have come to us with sites. They put a lot of time, energy, and money into it, and yet when we've looked and researched at their niche, there's really not a lot of money there to go after, and they're very disappointed. You know, this was kind of a pet project for them or something that they liked, but it's not going to produce the money that they wanted. So it's very critical. There's a lot of money to be made online, but you have to be very discriminating and go after it in a thoughtful and intelligent manner. So anything else you want to add, Joe?
No, that's it.
All right, cool. We'll take questions.
Dan, I'd probably add just a couple of quick points.
Here's another example of 3 silo that we did.
Hey, Tom, I think Dan's got something for us.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I was just going to make a couple of brief comments. One is that not only have we seen it where there's not enough traffic to go after, but we've also seen plenty of cases where customers are only using traffic as their primary mechanism. And as Joel already pointed out, there may be traffic, but the customer may not be able to afford to go after it. And it's a really important distinction, because that's typically when we see customers saying, you know, I'm trying to go after 350 keywords. And you say, well, why is that? Well, because they have traffic. So there has to be, the financial aspect has to come into play, because resources are limited no matter who you are. So it is really important to become more laser beam focused on that which you can afford. And then obviously, like any business decision, you want to start earning a return as quickly as possible. That may mean going after some of the keywords that may not be quite at the top, but going after those that are more low-hanging fruit. Others aren't going after them as much. Maybe they're longer tail variety, for example. And that's why doing this right, as opposed to just simply using, let's say, one tool and saying, wow, it's got a lot of traffic, I should go after it, you might be going after 800-pound gorillas in that market. You're just not going to get there, or not get there yet.
Right.
That was one point I wanted to make. Another one is that one of the things that we've seen is that, you know, the saying of guilty by association. But I think that in Google's framework, that you're actually a winner by association. If you've built an authority site, not only have we found that you become ranked faster and longer doing this process, but you also find that you become ranked for key terms that you're not even necessarily directly targeting. You may or may not have even mentioned it. We had a customer, for example, in California who, you know, she was going after, I think, somewhere around 10 to 20 kind of primary keywords. She ended up ranking for over 1,000 keywords across the 3 search engines. We weren't even going after them all, but she was doing the best in her industry. So you'll gain a lot and actually end up cutting your cost down by having that as one of the benefits. And the smarter the search engines get, I would assume, maybe Tom has a different view, but I would assume that that will actually only continue.
Oh, no, that's going to continue more, because what the search engines are looking for, since they know there is a lot of spam out there, they know there's a lot of sites that are not ranked properly, and they are on a mission to clear that out. They know that's going to take a long time, and they know they're fighting an uphill battle in some sense, because people are going to continue to invent ways to come after them. So when they see an authority site that truly does have the goods, and they have verified it, they've indexed it, and they've spidered it repeatedly, and they've found good user feedback, they are going to begin sending you traffic from keywords galore as it relates to that market. Here's another thing that happens when you begin to do keyword research. We have companies that come in and say, I other ancillary and associative markets in my market. I never knew I could go after this. I never knew I could create this product. I never knew I was close to this. Realize that what we have at our disposal these days with these tools is the capacity to look thematically into the entire nature of a niche, a area, a subject, a market, in ways that you never could before. Not even traditional market research has the capabilities of doing what we can do now with the tools that we use. So we see a market, we see competitors, we see associative products, we even see things that could be invented that aren't in existence, but that people are searching for and there's no products for them. That's how powerful this is. You get to see your market in ways that you never have before. Now think of having a silo like this and having all of your content decided objectively, authoritatively, by the search engines. This is having the search engines build your site for you. That's essentially what we're doing. That's kind of what we call it. Having the search engines build your content for you, because every theme, every silo here has been determined by Google. And when they spider the site, they recognize their own footprint. And you go, wow, these people get it. So I wanted to spend some extra time on this and have Joel come in, because this is going to become more and more increasingly a aspect of site creation and site architecture that you guys need to focus on, particularly those of you that are sticking with SYN, because we've got a lot of things coming in the pipe that's going to feed these types of sites. So another thing we're going to try to do, we're going to try to work out a cost-effective silo research package for our SYN members. We haven't determined yet how, because we're going to have to train and hire other people and try to find ways to cut down the cost on it, because it's very time intensive. But we intend to come back and to say, you know, we might do 10, 20 at a time and try to do it in a cost-effective way, so those of you that really want to build authoritative sites have an opportunity to access this kind of technology. And then we're going to cut down the price on it, because we want you to be part of a project with us to demonstrate the power of this in conjunction with the use of some of our SYN channels and services, so that we can together sort of verify the power of this. It's already been verified, but we like to have modern new examples in a variety of niches so that we can display this. And so one of the things you'll do for letting us do it at a cheaper price is letting us sort of preview the sites or use them as testimonies and stuff like that. We won't be giving away all your keywords, but we'll just be sharing some essence of what happened, what you learned, and how your site did. But it's going to be a fun project, and so those of you that are interested in this, you can even email us now, and we'll put a waiting list together, and we'll be coming up with a price soon.
We also have some pretty neat new WordPress plugins now that really help rearrange the internal linking structure to really help us create the correct internal linking for our blueprints.
And that's something I'm not touching on tonight, but it definitely is a part of Panda and a part of Penguin, and that is the on-site linking. That's what you're talking about, Joel, right?
Yeah, it's, you know, WordPress has their own way of creating their internal linking structure, because when we set this up, there's a strategic way that we use, you know, whether it's a category, a page, or a post, to differentiate between a silo landing page and supporting pages, and then just the internal linking between one and the other. It's also important. But now, finally, it's taken a long time, but we now have some cool plugins that we use that allow us to create the correct internal linking structure that we need to strengthen the silos on a WordPress platform.
Exactly, and that's been difficult because WordPress really hasn't cooperated with this process, and now we can literally bend it to our will, and with these plugins, they're very powerful and proprietary, and adopt the silo strategy with these plugins, and your site, it just comes out an amazing outcome. So cool. Thank you, Joel.
My pleasure.
How to create Panda-proof content. Once your content thematic silo is created, you then begin to write on each of the topics, themes, ideas, or subjects, beginning with your top-level keywords and proceeding down the silo to cover your long tail and LSI themes and keyword phrases. By doing this, you are indicating to the search engine that you understand your niche completely and that you are worthy to become the one true authority in this niche. That's why I say you should always approach anything you go into from here on out. Can't be a hobby. This has got to be a commitment. It's got to be something you're going to be the authority on. You're going to be the spokesman. You're going to be the PR person. You're going to become famous. You're going to become known as the person associated with this market. And if that sounds strange to you, get over it. You've got to do that. Google is demanding that you take on more of a PR strategy as you roll out SEO. And in one sense, they're moving more toward what conventional marketing used to be. It's kind of meeting in the middle. Fourthly, before you write your content on each topic, review all of the 23 questions that Matt Cutts from Google suggests you ask about the content you are creating before you or your writer begins to write a single line. All 23 questions are included in the first webinar presentation, but here's just a few that I pulled out. I think 6 questions that he gives us to ask about your content. So, does the article provide original content or information, original reporting, original research, original analysis? Do you get it? Original. Is this article written by an expert or enthusiast who knows the topic well, or is it more shallow in nature? Again, they want you to be an authority. They're asking you to step up and become an authority. Does the site have duplicate, overlapping, or redundant articles on the same or similar topic with slightly different keyword variations, i.e. highly spun and obvious? Does the article contain an insightful analysis or interesting information that is beyond obvious? Are the articles short, unsubstantial, or otherwise lacking in helpful specifics? We found that the longer articles of between 800 and 1,000 at a minimum will rank better. Articles with 2,000 to 3,000 words should also be considered, and I believe will soon become the norm for authority sites. Google wants to know that you know something. Google wants to know that you have an edge on the market that you're willing to share. This sort of page, something you'd want to bookmark, share with a friend, or recommend. There's the social proof aspect. There's the social signal aspect. To go through all 23 of those, I really encourage you to go back to the webinar and read all of them. I think I include the link as to where they're found, where Matt Cutts talks about them, and Onyx Singal, I think, is the guy that put the list together. So, how to create Panda-approved content. Number 5, to comply with Google's 23 questions, we've reduced the essence of these questions to several content qualities. So let's look at these. Is your content enlightening? Is your content accurate? In other words, does it pass the Wikipedia test? Is it challenging? Is your content entertaining? Does it keep people reading, or are people bouncing off of it real quick? Is it humorous? People do not use humor enough. Is it unique? You got something that nobody else has. By the way, you're going to see more use of graphics. You're going to see more use of GIF, interactive graphics. You're going to see more unique ways of blending text with graphics. Anything to make the way you communicate content unique. Is it inspiring? Does it really get people excited? Is it controversial? Controversy sells. I mean, don't we know that in this political season? Stimulating. Does it really stimulate people and cause them to get excited about something? Talk about what you're writing about. Is it memorable? Does it stick in people's minds? They read something, they just can't get it out of their mind. And you know what? A lot of that has to do with story. I've got a whole series that I'm going to be doing on how to incorporate story into your writings. And it is one of the most powerful mediums in all of history. And if you can use it properly on your sites, I mean, this is how people that are very popular marketers, from Kelman to Evan Pagan to others, they've used stories. They've talked about their market in unique story fashions, and they've just enthralled people and kept them coming back and wanting to read more. Is your content helpful? Is it edifying? So, if you do not know how to write like this, and believe me, I didn't, the best way to learn is to read top-ranking sites that embody the above qualities, or to read books to just become an authority. I mean, Dan can vouch for this. I probably read, how many books do I read a week, Dan? I don't know, a lot.
More than I read.
So,
Speed reading.
Yeah, I really learned speed reading in college, and so I can really catch the essence of a book pretty quick. But I love to read. I love content, and so I take it in all of its forms. And what that does, it helps you to be a better writer, a better communicator, and more of an authority within your market. I feel like I have enough information packed within me that I could hold my own with anyone talking about our market. And that's what you need to feel like as an authority. You need to feel confident that you could stand up, answer any question, and if you don't have the answer to the question, you're willing immediately to go get the answer. Don't ever lie about anything. Saying, I don't know, is one of the best answers, because if you don't know, that's an honest answer, and it means you're going to go get the answer. So there's a lot I don't know, but there's a lot I do know, and there's a lot, if you take that strategy, you will become an authority. And by the way, you'll be surprised how little it takes in many niches to become an authority. Most people don't know anything. The more you know, you've got the edge, and then you just keep getting better. It's about specialization. If you haven't picked it up, that's what the entire long tail's about. It's about specializing. It's about being good in one thing and being so good that nobody else is better than you. That's where you get known. That's where you get popularized. That's where you get chosen. That's where you get asked to do things, to speak, to write. Aim for that. That's what you want. So, number 7, one way to immediately improve the quality of your content is to learn how to curate content. There are several good curation software tools on the market to help you with this. We use Page One Curator. It can be found at the Warrior Forum, at least that's where I found it. It includes training on how to properly curate content. Dan, you want to talk about that tool, because I think you've used that more than I have.
Yeah, I think Joel and I probably used it about the same. It's a pretty decent tool. Certainly one that's worth the low investment. It's easy to use. You can add your own RSS feeds to it. You gain access to most of Google's primary platforms around images, YouTube, news, and you can use that for curation into your own posts. You can directly syndicate the post to a number of blogs that you have. Then they also have a Page One syndicator that will allow you to also post those posts from your blog to 11 Web 2.0 blogs automatically. So it's a pretty good tool. We haven't found any yet, although we actually are building our own, that will finally fill this void. But most of the ones that are out there are going to be more standard. They're going to pull from kind of the standard APIs that are available, and they're still all going to be narrow, except for those that are hundreds and hundreds of dollars each month intended for the corporate market. There's one or two of those that are better. But again, for anybody who is looking to get into curation, don't want a lot of resistance on getting in and a big learning curve, Page One Curator is a pretty good tool.
Yeah, I think it is. It's very simple to use. And if you've never done curation, curation comes from the concept of a museum curator who puts together a art show by selecting the kinds of paintings and displays that need to go into a thematic show. And so they're called a curator. They don't create the art. They just select it and put it up so others can see it. And that's what you're doing when you're curating. You're not writing the content. You're taking from top-level content. Most sites have a curation policy that you need to abide by. You need to give them credit. And you can take the content and you can embellish it. You can take it and add your own to it. Page One Curator allows you to do this. And when you're done, you have a combination of your own thoughts and curated thoughts. And really, this is how sites like Drudge Report, Huffington Post grew to be so popular. Google loves it. And the reason that they love it is because most curated content creates freshness. It's usually news news-related or new things or top-level things that are ranking well that people select and talk about and curate. So Google loves it because humans love it. Google loves it because people love to read it, because it's top level. People stay on the site because when they search for something, they're getting something from your curated content that is already proven to rank well and to be readable and that people want. So that's why Google will give you kudos for it, is because people like it. And realize that's the key to search engine optimization, folks. Do people like what you're doing? Do they come? Do they vote for you? Is there social proof around what you're doing? If there is, and believe, we predicted 4 years ago, social proof would eventually win out over all SEO. We stand by it. It's going to happen. It's on the way to happening. It will literally kill everything and become the final algorithm, because in the end, what counts is what people say counts. These are the kinds of how-to things that people just love. And again, you need to mix it up. I've got templates, probably 40 or 60 of these that I've created over the years or collected over the years. If I want to write how-to on anything, I can just look. I've got so many of them that I can pull from, all proven to be, I mean, when you read them, you just want to go in and read that article, because the headline, the article, the tag is what people see first when they're searching. And if you have a good headline, that's going to pull people in and keep them reading, hopefully. The ultimate factor Google looks for when it applies the full range of its Panda filter is embodied in the results it receives from the following question about your content. You really need to hear this. To what extent do the following categories of people, I'm going to list them in just a bit, respect, like, or use your content, and if applicable, how much and how often are they willing to pay for it? And realize as you get good, you're going to write content that people pay for. It's going to either be in a book, an ebook, a Kindle, in a white paper. To what extent do the following categories of people really like your content, willing to pay for it, and to pass it on to others, to recommend it to others? Who are these people? First, it's the intelligentsia. Do people in authority, professors, doctors, educators, wiki writers, do they really like your stuff? Do they say, wow, this stuff is good? If not them, how about professionals, CEOs, CMOs, CTOs, business owners? Do they talk about your content? You see, that's a person of substance, has a position in society that talks about stuff that you're writing. You want that. Popularists, these are people or sites that generate popularity, and when they talk about your content or host your content or discuss it, then that brings you authority by association. Regularly users, people who go to your site, they pick up your RSS feed, they bookmark your content, they maybe comment on it. The general public, people who talk about you. These are people who hear about you, talk about you, say, yeah, I know that person, he writes on such and such. Or people who just link to your site because they like it, and they link other people to your site. You see, these are the categories of people that Google's looking for. And as you begin to write, as you begin to create authority on your site, more and more people are going to come. We have people in all these categories who read our stuff, who take our stuff, who listen to us, and who pass on and say. In fact, do you realize we've done almost no marketing for Send? Have we, Dan? I mean, I think we've done some webinars, we've done a website, but it's crappy. It needs help.
Yeah,
most of our sales have come through authority. It's come through the brand Send. It's come through discussions and through relationships and through people realizing through discussion and through experience what we know and what we've done for them and what we've accomplished for them. It's more of the proof is in the pudding and word of mouth that our company's grown, and we're just now getting ready to incorporate and to use many of the strategies that we're talking about here. We're setting up to really position ourselves to go after more traffic and to go after more people But up until now, we really haven't had to do that because we've had so many people coming in naturally through the SIN name that we continue to get sales that way, and it just passes on word of mouth. That is a testimony to when you have authority, when you have the goods, when you're doing something right, people will drive your traffic for you. There's not a lot of things you can do that with, but if you do it right and you have authority, those are the kinds of positions you want to be in. From there, you can market whatever you're doing in a very powerful way. And these are the kinds of people that will drive that popularity for you. So when the people in these categories produce a collective positive response to your content, they help you to create the following: credibility, popularity, brand recognition, leadership, positive trends, testimonial support, author-writer status, influence, celebrity. So these are the kinds of social proof factors that are increasingly driving search results today, and that will one day dominate all factors as soon as Google, Bing, Yahoo can figure out a way to authentically determine when, where, how, why, and with whom these things are being generated. And believe me, that is happening faster and faster every single day. This is authority. This is how you get authority. This is how you verify that you have authority. This is what you're aiming for with your website, with your content. You need to think big. You need to dream big. You need to be big. You need to have the goods. Even if you're working another job and you're just doing your web marketing on the side, that's how we got started years ago. You just simply do what you have to do. You burn the candle at both ends. You make sure that you're focused on the right things. What I see so many people doing today is jumping from one quick thing to the next, one empty promise to the next. We're going to make you money in 5 days. We're going to do this. Forget that. Flush that stuff down the toilet. You know how much money I wasted doing that? All of us have had to learn the hard way that that stuff does not work. Get and build a true business. Get and build something with authority. Become the authority. Have the goods. Become somebody you're proud of being in a niche that you really want to be in. And believe me, the money will begin to flow. And the ways you can make money are multiple. There's so many ways to make money online. This is the beginning, truly, of the online gold rush. It hasn't even happened yet. So, Penguin overview. We're going to jump to Penguin now real quick because we're running out of time. Google's Penguin is an algorithm refinement, not a filter. At the heart of Penguin is a focus on finding and punishing what is described as SEO spam. This can be defined as anything that produces a high ranking for a website that is undeserving of such ranking, especially if it lands on page 1 for its key term. So, to accomplish this mission, Penguin looks first for what Matt Cutts calls over-optimization of a web property. What is over-optimization? Over-optimization occurs when SEO spam tactics and ranking manipulation strategies have produced a ranking position that would have never occurred normally, even if the website had pristine site architecture, Panda-proof content, and pure authority potential. But when a site ranks highly and yet has poor quality content and sloppy site design, it's even more of an indication that over-optimization is present. A strong Google penalty will follow and has followed. And this is why sites that have arrived at a page 1 ranking and have employed SEO strategies that were effective for years have all of a sudden plummeted in rankings. Even sites that have quality content have suffered under Penguin if they have employed over-optimization. And really what we're talking about is forced linking strategies, paid linking strategies that they can tell were over and above what normally would happen in a site that size. There wasn't the kind of randomization that they needed to see. There wasn't the kind of normalcy in natural link building. And now they're able to detect this to a degree they never have been able to detect before. And they are employing so many new strategies for doing this that we say it's better to simply move toward linking strategies that are going to be authentically good for you. I'm going to share some of those with you tonight that have proven to work. So how do you develop a penguin-proof site? Number 3, one strategy that we see often at Send.com that undoubtedly creates over-optimization is when new website owners enter as members and use all their credits on 1 or 2 social strategies before they've taken time to mature their site. Here's a brand new site. It's just been launched, 3 days old, and people are shoving, you know, all kinds of one type, all kinds of just bookmarks at it, or just, you know, Facebook likes at it. And a penguin-proof strategy requires that you employ a multi-channeled interactive social approach. And you need to think of your strategy as, what would a normal site develop like? By the way, Send is there as sort of like a rocket booster. It gives you enough visibility so that others can see what you're doing, but your content and your site has to take you from there. That's why Send is not purely an SEO tool or just a linking tool. It's a social proof engine. It allows you in a community to get like response so that your content gets viewed, gets seen, it gets a fighting chance, and when getting a fighting chance, it now is good enough to take on a life of its own. You see, there's a lot of good content out there that'll never get seen. And what Send does is it allows you, it guarantees that you're going to be seen. People are going to read you. People are going to see you. People are going to see the social proof around what you're doing. But from there, you need to take it and knock it out of the park. That's why you need to incorporate some of the strategies I'm going to be talking about in a bit. And so let's view exactly what I mean by variety, scale, and reach for your content. So let's just say you have, you know, business web content on your blog that you want to get out. Here's the variety of ways that you can do that. You can bookmark it. You can use social news. You can engage in Twitter retweets. You can do a press release. We don't have press releases yet, but we are working on it, have been working on it for some time, and we'll release it later. Video should be done with beta by the end of this month, and we're really looking forward to that. Once we get video, I mean, we're in a new category then. Facebook likes, Google Plus, which are beginning to populate now slowly. By next week, I think we'll be taking new campaigns, article networks, blog commenting, RSS. Most of these are incorporated into Send, and what you want is a balance. As Dan said, you don't want to go after a niche that is highly competitive, going after 350 keywords and trying to do one blog comment each. Neither do you want to have a young site where you're throwing just one of these strategies and using your credits on things like just bookmarking. You want to have a natural presence, a natural flow. That's why you want to have a little bit of all this happening. We know that the Penguin algorithm looks for these kinds of natural results. If you're paying for any kind of linking strategies and you haven't incorporated in any social proof to verify those links, think about it. Here you have links all over the place. You are just ranking really. I mean, you got links coming galore, but you have no social proof to verify those links. The gig's up. You're done for. If you don't have any social proof to verify that those links are genuine, you're going to get booted, because Google knows that if it's really true that those links have been gotten genuinely, naturally, social proof is going to follow. Nobody gets voted president without somebody talking about it. That is the nature of humans. It's the nature of how content gets ranked. So that's why you need to think about your site in the natural flow of its ranking and be conscious of how you do this. It's critically important. Dan, I know you see that all the time because you do a lot of support. You want to comment on any of that?
Well, I mean, I think you hit most of it. I think that people become very zealous, and they want to just start throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it, believing that more is always better. And I think that that there are several common themes that I usually express to customers. First is, you need to understand what the traffic is on your site. If you're going to start trying to run 3,000 promotions on a site, regardless of age, really, for that matter, but you actually only have about 1,000 total visitors a month, the math just doesn't work. I mean, the way SYN works, we'll present your content in front of a huge audience of people. But at the end of the day, it needs to, as Tom pointed out, it needs to be a balance. So, you should be thinking of it as a longer-term investment, not a get-rich-quick scheme of throwing everything at it now. So start off more moderately and build up to it over time and building that social popularity. I think it's almost like a quest to see, like when you go to a restaurant, you order food, wanting to eat everything on the plate regardless of whether you're hungry. It's kind of the same thing with SYN. People have a certain number of credits, and they just want to make sure that they spend those credits by the end of the month regardless. And there's a reason why we made it into a system that has credits that roll over. Some months you may have more content, less content, and you may have some that's going to be on third-party sites, which actually gives you a little bit more freedom in terms of a credit spending. But these things are going to oscillate over time. So look at it as one of the tools in your arsenal. It's an important one. But don't be worried about having to open the floodgates in the first month, because if you haven't built anything up yet and all of a sudden you start throwing everything at it, what we have seen is that, and oftentimes when that happens, people will actually slide back into position. And the reason being is that I think Google is trying to understand what's happening here. You've developed somewhat of a natural pattern. All of a sudden now you're throwing a huge amount of something totally different that you haven't ever had, and now it's going to try to understand, A, is this normal? B, does the math even make sense? And C, is it going to continue? So when we see people do that, that is bad enough, but then oftentimes people go the reverse. They say, well, I haven't seen enough movement in the first 3 days of me running campaigns, so I'm done with this system. Well, then you send the total opposite signal. You say, well, I went from nothing to a huge amount that didn't make any sense back to nothing again. So it's important to create more of a balance across modules, not be trying to start too fast, and just plan on building up to it over time. And as your traffic grows, so can the amount of usage of SYN as well. So again, take it as one of the tools in your arsenal. Be patient. And I think that that's one of the things that Tom already pointed out, that the get-rich-quick schemes are going to become fewer and far between. So if you're looking at this as being something that's longer term, you have to have patience. We're seeing sites, generally speaking, taking a little bit longer to rank or things to move. And it's not quite as easy as it used to be. It's certainly not impossible, but it's those that are in it for the long haul that really that really get where they want to go and stay there.
Yep. All right. Thank you. Excellent. So here's the fourth, how to build a penguin-proof site. In our next webinar, I'll be addressing meta tag stuffing and other SEO strategies to combat penguin. But for tonight, I want to share with you several of the most effective ways to create powerful, natural, and effective links that will impact your rankings more than any of the other typical paid-for linking systems that have been popular over the years. And sometimes people ask me, well, if I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to go out there and pay for these links, how am I going to get linked? I'm going to share with you some proven strategies that will bring your linking to its knees. These are things, there's probably about 50 things like this. I'm going to share with you some of the most effective that are easy to do, easy to employ, and it's going to help you rank, I'll tell you. One is simply to do an interview. This involves finding someone who's an authority and who can bring you traffic and clout by association. You can put the interview on your blog or on the person's blog who you interviewed. Either way, it's a win-win, and the linking can often go viral depending on the person who's being interviewed. So aim high. People love to be known as authority, so sometimes it's very easy to find somebody and say, listen, I'd really love to interview you. I've got a number of people who'd love to hear what you have to say on a topic on my blog. Would you mind if I had a call with you? and interviewed you and put this into a blog post, and then I'll let you do whatever you want with it, but I'll link to you, whatever. I mean, people understand they're getting linking, they're getting authority, they're getting recognition, but here's the thing, so are you. You are associating with people. If you select the right person that you're going to interview, you're getting next to someone who, by association, is going to help your clout increase. That's how the world goes round. That's how you build relationships. That's how you begin to build a business. I'm going to go through these rather quickly since we're kind of running late. Create an award. There are whole strategies online if you search on how to do this. And if you do it right and you really put some time and effort into it, you can have a highly effective strategy. Once you have the award properly set up, you can then ask your members or your friends or whoever or the world who's reading your blog to vote. It could be the best website, the best blog post of 2012, the best quote in an article. The sky's literally the limit. And if you create an award that's given annually, realize it's the net. You can do this. How do you think other people do it? You can too. Now, you probably ought to have a site that's older than 5 days. You ought to have some experience online to back up the credibility. Maybe you can, if you don't, maybe you can do it with a friend. But I want to tell you, once you begin to write, once you begin to become an authority, you can create an award, have people vote, and then give that award to people who have earned it, and you create a plaque, you create a button, you create a badge. I mean, a number of things you can do that they put on their website that just simply says you were voted, you know, the best website, the best blog post in 2012. People love that. They eat it up. It brings them authority. It brings them relationship. It brings them traffic. And let me tell you the next thing you can do. Now, you can do this on a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about beyond this too, but go ahead and send out a press release on this. Take either or both of the above strategies and create a press release and say, hey, you know, I have an interview with such, and such, and by the way, it's going to be on my blog and such. He talks about this and that, and I'm announcing that it's going to be posted on such and such a date. Or we've created an award, and this award is going to be given out on such and such a date, and you put a press release out. Everybody wants to find out about the award. What happens? You get traffic. You get links. You get people coming in. What have you done? You've created buzz. You've created traffic. You've created genuine, powerful clout traffic, guys. These strategies work. This is how the world goes around. These links are so much more powerful than anything you could ever buy. Thousands and thousands of dollars of your forced paid linking cannot beat a good strategy pulled off like this. It works. What else? Guest blogging. Volunteer to write a guest blog for another site owner in your niche. If you need ideas or want to get started quickly, go to myblogguest.com and search for people who are requesting guest blog writers. Yeah, they're on there, and you might find some in your niche who are saying, would you come write an article? And if it's your niche, write an article. Get on their blog. What happens? You get linking. You get known. You can put a press release out about that. Guest blogging is one of the most powerful ways to get links to your site, to get known, to get recognized. I would add to that, too, writing Kindle books. I didn't put it in here, but there's a whole explosion of Kindle. And Kindle's becoming the new arena for information marketing. And there's whole platforms and systems and protocols. Ryan Dice has a new thing out about it, but it's been out for a while. I began collecting Kindle-related intelligence 2 years ago as it began to explode. It's not stopping. It's in its infancy. We've got other things, too, that we're researching, like the iPad magazines. Those are going to be so powerful. We're going to be creating one of those as part of our online strategy, and I'm very excited about it because those magazines can have videos in them. They can do just about anything. You should be thinking of that too. So I wish I would have put that in here. I didn't. Create genuine Web 2.0 links. These include sites like Squidoo, Hub Pages, and other sites where you can create your own content and then have it distributed to others in that community. You can send out a press release about this. Take either or both of the above and do it. Help a reporter out. One of the best sites for this is called Help a Reporter Out, HARO. Get to know reporters who need your expertise and who are willing to acknowledge you and promote you as you help them. This creates massive authority links. Think about it. You could have a reporter from a news magazine in a major city who you work with and your expertise is needed. Now, if you go to Help a Reporter, they list the kind of things they need. They list the expertise they're looking for. They list the content or the research that they're looking for. Do you realize how many people you can get to know here? This is a company, I believe, that is owned by Vocus. And Vocus is the largest embodiment of associations with true PR personalities anywhere in the world. It's a major site, and the kinds of people that populate and relate to Vocus are the top writers in the world. So if you can get in and get to know some of these people, imagine what's going to happen with your content. There's no reason why you can't do it. We're going to do it. Contact your blog commenters. If you have a blog and people are commenting on your blog and they write something positive, they say, wow, I really like this article and I really like this point that you made. If you see a couple of those by the same person, contact them. Say, hey, listen, would you be willing to give me a testimony? Or how about doing some link exchange? Maybe we could do some, I could do some guest writing for you or something like that. It's about relationships, and relationships create links. That's one thing I had to find out the hard way, that relationships are at the heart of link building. And if they aren't, they're increasingly worthless. Start a video series. Set up a YouTube channel and do a series of short videos on a topic of your choice. This can become a powerful way, also something that you can announce in a press release. It's giving away your best content so you can attract marketers. There's all kinds of YouTube and video strategies for collecting a name online, getting your autoresponder filled. There's, again, the sky is the limit. And once SYN incorporates in video, we'll be covering, what, 24 of the top networks, Dan?
That's correct.
I think that's what it is, 24 of the top video networks that really comprise 94% of all the viewing audience online. So it's going to be a powerful distribution channel. We're also going to have the creation of videos too. So very inexpensively, you'll be able to get a 30-second or 1-minute video or longer for a very reasonable price, created for you with the script, with the voiceover, with all the graphics, all the video content, and you'll be able to then have a video that you can release into our channels, and then we're going to have social interaction on it too. So it's going to be unlike anything that's out there that we know of, and very, very powerful in terms of marketing impact. Now, I want to close tonight by sharing with you what Google is calling rank transition. I've put the body of a description, an article in here, and at the bottom of it I have the link to it. I'm not going to read all this and go through it. I'm just going to explain to you the essence of it. Google recently purchased this as a patent. And what it does is it tracks the kind of SEO interactions that you're doing on your website, but it then tricks you in order to determine if what you're doing they consider to be spam. So here is an example. They suspect that you haven't fully earned the rank that you've got. So they demote you just because they want to, and they wait to see what you do. And if you do something, you take something off, you put something on, you do something, you take something away, they look at it to determine, is what they took away something that we would consider to be spam. And if it is, then they continue to derank you more. Now think about how cunning that is. If you go through the entire article, which by the way I put it on the last page there, you can see it, and those of you who want to write it down, you can. But it is it just goes to show you the extent to which they are going. They're literally going to be juxtaposing your rankings, and they're going to be determining if they move you up or down. They're going to watch what you do, and through that, they're going to determine whether your response to their actions against you is hopefully going to shake out those that are being spammers, or those that are buying links, or those that are doing things they shouldn't be doing, and they hope to catch you so that they can derank you further. So it's like I say, I mean, the deck is stacked against us, and that's why I am encouraging you to engage in the kinds of interactions that really will produce the best possible outcomes for you. So read this. It's much more complicated than I've described it. There's much more to it, many more nuances to how they do it. It describes the ways in which they approach the site, how they determine what they're going to derank or what they're going to do to try to ferret out the violators. But you can tell by reading it, it's a very serious process. And they call it rank transition because it's a transitional way to determine whether you deserve that position or not. And if you don't, they're going to shake you out and find out what you're doing wrong and what is the reason for which you had received a ranking that you did not deserve. So, Dan, we have any questions?
No, I think we're probably running on the later side anyway.
Okay.
If
All
we
right.
have any that are key to anything that we've discussed, by all means, feel free to submit a support ticket to the help desk, and
yep.
We'll be happy to get back with you with a proper response.
You bet. I appreciate your patience, and sorry for the GoToMeeting screw-ups, but hopefully we got a good recording here. If we don't, we'll record it over again like we did last time. I hope we don't have to. So anything else you want to add, Joel?
Well, I like to say you mentioned video. Video and curation, it's another thing. You can certainly curate other people's video. Just make sure that you embed the image on your post, not just a link. And just video in general, we've seen customers, we spoke a lot about content, and content come in many ways. Videos right now are ranking rather fast, with very little assistance. So if you've got a good message, definitely do a video, add it on your website, and as soon as we get that going in Send, add it to your list of link building.
Yes, that's great. That's great. Anything else, Joel? Obviously, there's much more to both these, Panda and Penguin, that we haven't touched on, but I think we're slowly getting to the essence of them. Anything that you want to add that maybe I overlooked?
Well, you covered all of it. Actually, there's one thing that we're going to be seeing, something I shared with you not that long ago, that we are going to start seeing big directories like the Yellow Pages losing ranks. Google is so strict on making sure that everybody gets to what they want after one search, that even directories, and we even had some customers that had 20,000 visitors a day that dwindled down to 1,500, 1,700 because the websites were basically directories that when you do a search in Google, you click, you get to the page, and then you basically have to do another search or just click to go somewhere else, and Google wants to get away from that. So content is definitely going to be, whether it's written, video, but content is definitely going to be king. Like I said, won't be surprised if you start hearing and seeing sites like the Yellow Pages start losing rank.
You see, everything's being shaken up. The entire world is being shaken. And in that void, you can enter. In that void, you can stand. In that void, you can become the new voice, the new authority. I am not kidding. That's true for everything. The search engines, even though you might be disappointed by what they're doing, you might have even been hurt by what they're doing. This is the greatest opportunity for SEO that's been probably, I think, since the beginning of the net. Wouldn't you say, Joel?
Yes, I agree. It's the marketing message. It's basically, you know, having a storefront, and what you're selling in the store, it's online. So that message and the way that you're presenting, what you're presenting versus your competition, it's what's going to make the difference. You know?
If you go at it with research, siloing, authority architecture, you have the plugins on your site, you have your site. We're going to talk next time about what you need to do on your site in the way that you set it up, in the way that you allow the search engines to go certain places and not other places, particularly if you're an affiliate marketer. There's a whole strategy for telling the search engines what they can do and what they can't do that most people do not use, to their own detriment.
Right.
We're going to talk about architecture in terms of everything that you need in setting up the basics of your site, everything related to your title tags, your descriptions, and having a site that is really tight, really well defined. And when the search engines spider it, they love it because they're not confused. They don't have broken links. It really is a pleasure to spider because everything's in the right place. You have all of your legal documents. And by the way, you've got to have those, because if Google sees you don't have a privacy policy, you don't have, if you're an affiliate marketer and you don't have a disclaimer, you're going to get penalized for that. Google's talking about not even spidering sites after 2 or 3 times if you don't have the legal stuff on there. They won't even come back. So, again, this is the stuff that you need to know. We're going to be covering it. We promise to catch everything. A lot of these nuances, they're little minutia, but in the long run, they're really important, aren't they, Dan and Joel?
Extremely important.
Yeah. So, Dan, anything else you want to add?
No, I think you've pretty well covered it. I will let people know that we will go ahead and have the recording available. I think Tom already mentioned that if there are any sound issues, we'll take care of it and send it out. And we'll go ahead and add that both to the training area. We'll probably send an email with it. And then, as always, you can find it under the system updates area within the dashboard.
And we're going to be doing more trainings. We've got several things slated, particularly once we launch video. You just wait. We have got so many amazing marketing tactics that revolve around video that I'm so excited to show and to demonstrate. You guys are literally going to be able to go after anything you want to go after once video engine is built, because the tactics, the plugins, the unique strategies, I mean, video is just so powerful. I can't wait to get all of us together to talk about what can be done with video. So again, thanks for joining us tonight, and thanks for being a faithful SEND member. SEND is going to be better than ever. Over this next month, wait till you see. We are refining everything. We have so many major plans happening, and so we